the transmission out of my parts truck. And now we're going to be getting this truck ready to put that transmission inside of it. In order to get ready to cut the hole in the floor later to get the manual transmission into this truck, since it's an automatic right now, we need to remove the seat and the carpet. There's 4 bolts holding the seat to the floor, 2 of them on each side of the truck. I'm going to be taking those out now. So now we're going to remove the seat belts from the floor so that we can remove the seat from the truck. So now we're going to take out the jack and this tray here. Now I'm going to take off the cover for the transfer case shifter and the ball in the shifter. Now I'm going to pull up the carpet. Now that we have the carpet off, we can see where we will be cutting the hole when we are ready to do so. So we put the seat back in so that I can drive the truck a little bit easier. We're going to drive it over and put it back on the lift. So now I'm going to take the drive shaft off of the differential. I'm going to remove the front drive shaft from the differential. Now we're gonna make the transmission support bracket up. So I'm gonna use the impact driver. Okay, now I'm gonna remove the transmission from the transmission support bracket. I'm going to drain the transfer case of all its fluids. This is a 2-stage hydraulic telescopic transmission jack that was imported straight from China. We got a 2-stage so that we could get it out from underneath the lift pretty easily. The instructions were very minimal, so it was very hard to put together. So please go check that video out. Okay, so now I'm removing the bolts that hold the transfer case to the transmission. Well, now we've got our transfer case out of the truck. So we're going to work on getting the transmission out now.
So we're taking out the exhaust system. It has been modified after the catalytic converter to a dual exhaust. We're going to go back to a single exhaust when we're done.
I am removing my exhaust pipe from my exhaust manifold.
So we're draining the transmission fluid, which is always fun. This was a freshly rebuilt transmission, which is a little sad to drain perfectly good transmission fluid, but makes it a lot easier to have it out of there. Okay, so we're having to modify the jack when trying to use it here. The functionality that allows it to tip back and forth is on this end of the jack here. This allows it to tip up and down right here, which means it has to go on to the transmission in this manner here. And if these things that they have on there to mount your chains to are on there, they cannot go out far enough on the little track provided without hitting the transmission, and thus you can't lift the transmission with those on. So we have to take those off. We're going to move our chains directly down to this bar, and then we'll be able to get around the pan of the transmission. So essentially this design is inadequate to lift a transmission of this size, which is not that heavy of a transmission. It's just got a wide pan with over here on the side. You can see it's got a heat shield over on this side, and it won't expand to meet those needs. So again, I would probably definitely not recommend this jack if you're actually a professional mechanic needing to use this for different circumstances. For our use of using it a few times, it'll get by. It's better than not having a stand, but certainly not the best jack on the market.
And we'll start taking the transmission out now.
All right, now this is a brand new torque converter. Our transmission should be separate from our engine now.
I'm going to detach these wires from the transmission. Now I'm going to take off the transmission cooler lines. This filler tube here just comes right off. So now you can see where the engine and and the transmission are separating. Got the bolts taken out of the flywheel that are holding it onto the torque converter. We've got our drive shaft taken out, and that's in the back of the truck. And same with the front drive shaft, you can't see right now. And then down here on the floor, I've got old pieces we've taken out. We've got our transmission support bracket, the cross member, part of the exhaust system that we aren't going to want, torque converter cover, the transfer case, and then I've got this transmission here that we just finished taking out. We're going to find a good home for that. And then up over here, we've got our flywheel and a bunch of dangling wires. We're going to see if we need to take that out. But that's all the parts. So we need to remove several more parts out of the truck. Perhaps this flywheel, but we need to compare it to the other one from the other truck. And the transmission fluid tube and the transmission cooler tubes. So this will be all for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3.